Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrapping King. Today I'm sharing an 8.5 by 11 layout. I'm going to use another pin off of the Pinterest board, playing along with Off the Board with Crystal Barrett. And this is the pin that I have chosen. There is a name down at the bottom. I can't read it on my screen, but I will pop in the information down below. And I had put in for beach photos or swimming photos, and that came up. And I really like the texture on it. I am going to create a layout that looks almost fairly similar to it. I am going to have two photos on the layout, and I'm going to try to use up this collection. I think it's called Sea and Salt, or Salt and Sea. It's from Photoplay. It came in a scrap room kit, and this is what I have left. I am going to add in wood grain paper to create the wood grain background. And this is just from my stash. I believe this is from a paper pad because it doesn't have a board or a branding strip on it. So I believe it's from paper pad. I did have one full 12 by 12 left. I cut it down to an 8.5 by 11. I'm going to use that as the background. I'm going to add these little torn strips of pink paper on the left and the right. In the sketch, I believe she has like stamping or some kind of stenciling or something on the right and left side. But since I had this pink paper and it kind of helps the rest of the papers pop, it also helps my title pop. So I decided to put it right there on that's all you're going to see of it, on the left and the right. So the torn papers, I just tore that paper completely. I had very little of that 12 by 12 left after tearing it apart. And I kind of layered it up so that some of them were in the back and some were more closer to the front. And I think it turned out pretty cute. It's kind of not exactly like hers, but it definitely was inspired by hers. And I love the texture that it adds to the layout. I did ink up the edges with, what is that, chestnut brown, which is a StazOn ink. And then I just kind of made them look, rugged and dirty. So I kind of like that. I definitely like that look on my boy layouts. And these two photos are of my older son when he was in daycare. I worked at the daycare, and I was actually in charge of doing the scrapbook for the daycare since our director, when children would come in and tour to see if they wanted to go to the daycare, she wanted to be able to show them, pictures of the kids playing and having fun and show them what their day would be like. So she asked me if I would put a scrapbook together with some of the pictures that teachers had taken in their classrooms. And he wasn't in my class, he was in another teacher's class, and she took these photos of him. And when we got done with the, scrapbooks, for whatever reason, we were changing out pictures or seasons. In this case, since this was a summer photo, we wanted to put in, winter activities when winter time came. And I took the photos of my son any chance I got. So that's how I ended up with these photos. And that's why they have, like if you noticed at the beginning, they have like little punch swirls in the corner and rounded corners that were already on the photo before I even started the layout. And that's because that's how they were in that scrapbook. But since they were with multiple other photos, I decided just to pull the two that had my son, and I'm going to put those in his album. So I matted the two photos on white cardstock and then rounded the corners to make them match the photo. I'm going to tuck that tag in at the top because I am going to add all of the kids' names and like what classroom he was in, what daycare center it was, because I do have all of that information. The back of the photos actually had all of the kids' names on it still, which was a good thing because I only remembered a couple of the kids' names. Since they weren't in my class, I don't really remember all of the kids, but I did remember a couple of them. But luckily, all of their names are on the back. So I would like to include that just for the fun of it. There's no rhyme or reason. I highly doubt he will ever see any of these kids ever again. All of these kids are adults since my oldest son is 27. So, yeah, this was quite a while ago. He's 3 years old in these photos. And at daycare, we had beach day where they learned about, the ocean and ocean animals and seashells and all kinds of different things that relate to the beach. Since we live in Colorado, we don't really experience the beach unless you go, to a different state. So that was our way of teaching the kids about the beach. And they would play in this little sandbox table that was in the classroom and go outside and have a water day. And I just thought it was kind of cute. And the photos kind of sort of matched the collection. They looked cute enough with it, so I went with it. And like I said, I just used that little beach title down at the bottom. You can see I did add a couple of stickers to the title. I didn't do that on screen. I kind of forgot until I got to taking pictures and I was like, wait, I have stickers for that title piece. Hold on. So I stopped and taking pictures and put the stickers on there. And there's the tag that pulls out that I will, like I said, add a little bit of journaling to. And please like and subscribe if you like what you saw today. And I will have another layout up tomorrow. Thanks for coming by.